Hello. Um, so I wanted to try talking about an experience I had this weekend where I think I kind of regressed a little bit into a kind of I think it's called selective mutism. It's a term I've discovered this week. Um, uh, I think I've always had it, but the term I've only kind of discovered this week. Selective mutism. I've always dismissed that term. I think in the past I'd heard about it, but I've never been properly mute. I'm never like mute. But I go kind of quiet and I recoil inside myself sometimes. And that apparently there's low profile and high profile selective mutism, and maybe I think the low profile is you can still kind of talk a little bit, you say a few words, and I think I may have that. I guess I've been managing it most of my adult life. I guess I've found a way to either avoid situations where I'm likely to do that, or I've figured out how to manage it. I've usually got enough strength and motivation to just about mask it and get on with it, so I can usually hide it. But I'm always a bit quiet, and I always feel it a little bit. It's always there, to a degree. And basically, this weekend, I guess it kind of got the best of me a little bit. I kind of recoiled back into it. People are asking me. It was a family dinner, and people were asking me how I am and stuff, and what I'm up to, how's work. And I was just one word answers, man. I was just like, yeah, same old. I didn't feel like talking, expanding at all. And I guess they could sense it. A couple of my family members contacted me afterwards and said, "Is everything all right?" And I didn't really want to talk about it, so I said, "Yeah, it's fine." But it was a weird one. So I just wanted to talk about it because I was trying to figure out what led to me kind of being in that state. I've got my head's like a right old mess these days. I've got a lot going on. Um, got a lot going on in my head. Uh, so I guess I've been kind of just managing it for a long time, just managing to get through with social situations. Even with my family, I always feel a bit quiet sometimes, but I can usually get along just about fine. I mean, in fact, I'm usually quite often I'm fine if I'm in a good place. But the last few years, I've been having some tough issues, and that's been kind of tough to get through. I guess it's still weighing on me a bit. I don't know. Got some tough issues in my head that I've got to deal with. I've got low motivation. I think I've got some motivational issues that I need to try and figure out. I want to make a whole video about motivation because reasons to live. Like a lot of my motivations that I used to have in the past, I'm cynical of and skeptical of now. I don't really want to be motivated by those things, and trying to find good reasons to do your best. Why? I don't know. It's like I'm not sure. I'm very tired, and there's a lot of things. Got a lot of problems in my head, man. So, I had that going into it. I had the fact that this year I started the year quite motivated, and then I kind of regressed again into this. I've been playing this fantasy Premier League game, and I don't know. It's just easy. I get in from work and I'm tired, and it's this game, and I love it, and it's like I just like doing it. And there's this part of me that's like, who cares? Like, why work hard in life? Why not just do the thing that you love to do? So I've just been doing it and being like, who cares? Nobody cares. Like, who cares? I'm going to be dead. All of the hard work that I've done in the past, nothing come of it anyway. So it's like, who really cares? I'm just going to play this fantasy game. So I just played the fantasy game. But I think I was a little bit ashamed of that when I met the family dinner, and people were going to ask me, how are you? What are you up to these days? I was a little bit nervous to actually say to them, I've been playing fantasy Premier League. Like, that's what I've been doing in my life. It's a bit embarrassing. My family also are not like, they're fine. They're great people. But they're almost too great. Like, I think I get on better with losers. People who are losers, who are social problems and stuff, I just feel more comfortable. They're my people. My family are all quite good at stuff and all quite accomplished, and so it was I think I felt a little bit, not massively, but like, yeah, more than me. So it all felt a bit embarrassing to have to say, I've just been playing fantasy Premier League. And I shouldn't be. I'm quite, there's a part of me that's like, I don't give a shit. Like, that's what I'm doing. I should be proud. But I was just a little bit. It was all little things that just tipped over the edge, I think. The other thing as well that I think is a problem is that I think I've been drifting from my family a little bit. I've been drifting from just people. As I've gotten older and older, I just become more and more happy to be on my own. More and more I realised that, that fear of like you keep people in your life because you're scared, like, oh, am I going to regret it if I don't have people in my life? And then gradually, more and more people are leaving my life. I'm spending more and more time on my own. But I really like being on my own, and I'm finding myself actually feeling happier on my own. Like, I was actually really happy. Well, not really happy, but I was fine up until the family dinner. And then ever since then, I've had a crap week this week. I've been really thinking about my social problems again. And it's like, what the hell? My head's just exploded with problems again. So it's weird. Like, sometimes when I'm on my own, it's like, it's just easier. I do sometimes wonder that, like, all of my problems come from other people. That's a bit of a blunt statement to make, though. It's, so I feel like I've been drifting from my family a little bit and drifting from people a bit. So my family are lovely, but we're not on totally the same page, and that's fine. But again, like, they're different to me. They're all quite normal, and I'm not normal. So, I'm the one with the problem here. But, well, we're just different. And yeah, so we're on different pages, I think. And during the whole COVID thing as well, like, I came off WhatsApp. We had like a WhatsApp group. I came off Facebook and WhatsApp because Facebook were like censoring all of the people that are speaking out about the vaccines. And I don't want to get too political, so I won't get into this too much. But that was something that was really just really got my back up. I didn't like that, and so I came off Facebook, and then I came off WhatsApp as well. I didn't want to be a part of it. But then that WhatsApp group with the family was like one of my only final connections I had with my family, really, other than the times we meet up. And so I think that was like I just don't talk to my family anymore, and I get this feeling of like my family just, I don't know how much they talk without me, but I get the feeling there's just a whole bunch of connection going on without me now, which is my own fault. I pulled myself away in one sense, but then it's not my fault because it was the Facebook, it was the political thing. I don't know, but I came off WhatsApp, so I don't really connect with my family, and I feel guilty about that, and I feel like I should maybe try to connect more, try to spend more time talking to them. But then it's like the idea of having a day talking to anybody in my family, even though they're my family members, I almost find that more excruciating than I'll just be guilty. I'll just deal with the guilt. I'll just be on my loneliness, and guilt are preferable experiences for me than being in a room and talking to somebody, which is weird because most people love being in a room and talking to somebody. They're like, can't wait. Most social people, normal people, love socializing, whereas for me, it's so fraught with anxiety. It's so fraught with, like, I just don't get it, and it's so complicated, and that it's just too difficult to deal with. So I'm like, I'll just be a bad person. I'd rather just be a bad person. It's just that's easier to deal with for me. So I've been disconnecting from my family a little bit, maybe too much. And basically, I arrived at this family dinner, and I arrived a bit late. Normally, it was like we were supposed to be there at 11, but normally when the time comes there, we just arrive. Most people arrive like half an hour late. That's like the normal thing. I'm usually the first one there. I arrive on the dot, and then everybody else just comes up half an hour late, and then the food gets dished like an hour later or something like that. I arrived about 20 minutes late this time, which was a bit late. And the reason I arrived late was because I really wanted to finish watching The Traitors, because I wanted to have something to talk about. I knew I wouldn't have anything to talk about, and I really wanted to just finish The Traitors, because I didn't want to talk about The Traitors if I hadn't finished watching it, because I needed to watch it. And so I watched it on double speed, and I flew through the final thing just so I'd have something to talk about. And I never even talked about it, even though it came up at the dinner table that what are people watching. Somebody actually asked me, what are you watching? And I said The Traitors, and they said something else, and I just recalled I was just in this selectively mute state. I said nothing else, even though that was the whole thing that I wanted to talk about. I just didn't feel like talking at the time. It was very weird. So anyway, I came up about 20 minutes late, turned up about 20 minutes late, and most of the people, all's family was sitting at the dinner already. They'd already dished up, and so I felt bad. I felt a bit bad about that. But that's fine. It happens, and I wasn't the only one that was late. There's a couple of other people, so I don't think they care that much. It wasn't too big of a deal. But then when I went to sit down as well, they kind of asked me to sit in the back because they wanted to save some seats for some other people, and they kind of said you dish yourself up or something. So I started dishing myself up. The slightest thing, I know in my head there was no offence here at all, but just a thought in my mind just felt a little bit like it reminded me of a feeling of like they don't give a shit. They don't like me. I'm late. They hate me because I'm late. They just dish yourself up. They're not even going to bother to help me dish up, and I had to kind of like reach, and I was getting in the way, and then I just sat in the corner. And I was like, oh, I'm a loser. I don't know, and I'm sure that's not what they were thinking. I doubt any of them were even thinking that. I doubt it, or maybe it was very subtly at the back of their minds, but I don't think so. But it was just triggered a memory of like being in a group where I'm not wanted. And again, so again, I'm not blaming them. It's like it's just this. That's the thought that occurred to me, just ever so slightly in my head. So it's like it's my fault, or I've been disconnecting myself from the family, so I kind of blame it. I feel guilty for that, and then I turn up late, and I'm kind of in the corner, and it's my own fault for that as well. And then I'm feeling a bit guilty about playing FPL, and I don't really want to talk, and I feel a bit. My family some of them are very accomplished, and I'm going to be embarrassed because they've all got couples, and they're all normies, and they all do the thing, and I would have been a bit embarrassed to talk about that. And they're not losers, you know what I mean? I like talking to losers, man. So I had all that going on in my head, and then I just started nestling into saying nothing. You just go quiet, and you just once 5 minutes goes by, 10 minutes go by, and I still haven't opened my mouth. It's like it starts to become a thing, and then it's like, well, after a certain amount of time, if I now open my mouth, it's like a thing. It's like a kind of, oh, he speaks, or he's got something to say, and then or people, once people notice, you can just feel that they probably notice that you've been quiet. It becomes even harder to talk. And I just recoiled, and then it just became this safe space inside me to I'm just going to shut up. I'm not going to talk today. And I occasionally I'd have little thoughts of like, I could say this and I could say that. And again, like the low motivation and being just tired as well, just didn't quite have the strength or the impetus to kind of push myself to say what I should have said. And so, I just recalled, and I ended up just barely saying anything. And then afterwards, everybody went, and my mum wanted to give me some seeds from the garden or something, and somebody said something, and it sounded like it was a thing. Everybody's going apart from Bob. It was like, I don't know, singled out. It was almost as though everybody knew that I was in a weird place and had to have a chat with Mum or something like. And so everybody went, and then Mum, I got some seeds from my mum was asking me how I am, and I didn't even feel like talking to her. I used to always talk to my mum. I just don't really. Something is stopping me from talking to my mum at the moment as well. Maybe that's a topic for another video, but something is stopping me from talking to my mum. A whole other bunch of issues. I might have to save that for another topic, another video. It's a weird one, but just didn't feel like talking. So I didn't really say anything to her either. And then I went home and felt a bit shit. I thought, what was all that about? So that was my experience. And it's a weird one. I've been listening to some content about selective mutism, and listening to the way people describe it. So the selective part is like, so it's not a choice. People have been saying that it's not a choice. The term choice, I have a little reservation with that word, because I like to believe that, I don't like to say that there's no choice in it, because if you think you can solve selective mutism, if you think there are tools that can help you improve and get better, then that means there is a degree of choice. You could find ways to make yourself better, and then you could lessen your selective mutism, all this kind of stuff. But then when people say choice, though, it's like it's nowhere near the kind of choice that normally people are probably thinking. Like It's like, who would want to be in that state? It's like, I'm not doing it deliberately. I'm just following my instincts. I don't know, it's a self-preservation thing or something. And I think all these thoughts. I think to myself, am I doing this deliberately? Is there some kind of like psychological reason? Am I doing it for attention and all this kind of shit? And it's like, I don't think so, because like I just wouldn't do it if I knew how to deal with that situation. I know what the right thing to do. I'd just be a normal person. I'd want to kind of be. The right thing to do would be a nice family member, check everyone's okay, all this kind of stuff, and crack some jokes and lift the mood and all this kind of stuff. And I don't know. I've got so many issues and I regress, and it's hard, and I don't know. I don't think it's my fault entirely. Yeah, and the selective thing. I sometimes think if we had a brunch kind of dinner where there was just snacks and people just sitting around, it wasn't just this dinner table with everyone sitting there looking at each other, that wouldn't have been so bad. If I could have just hidden a little bit and kind of had moved from some other person to another person to start again, that probably wouldn't have triggered it so much. Yeah, so these kind of things I think was triggering it. Yep, and I think, is there anything else I want to say about that? Selective. Let me just have a think. No, I think that's all I can think of to say for today. So I think I'll leave the video there. That was my experience this weekend. Just wanted to vent some of that. Yeah. Okay, I'll leave it there. Okay. Bye.